Basically, all music fans have listened to Pearl Jam's 10 album, which was released in 1991, mixed by Tim Palmer. But did you know that there's a 2009 remaster that has surfaced around for quite a while, mixed by the famous producer and engineer Brendan O'Brien? And there's some stark differences between these mixes and how they were done. So we're going to dive into the DAW, and I'm going to break down the differences between the original release of Pearl Jam's 10 and what that sound has, and then what Brendan O'Brien was cooking with the remaster. It seems the band didn't like the arena rock 80s inspired sound of the original, so they had the remaster done despite the commercial success of the original. So let's dive into the session, and we're going to break down. I'm going to use the songs Black and Alive and do a comparison of what these songs sound like and what is different with the remasters. Okay, so here's the session that I'm going to be working with. At the top here in red, I have the originals, so I have Alive and Black pulled up here. And then for the remaster, I have Alive and Black as well by Brendan O'Brien at the bottom here. So this is what we're going to be alternating between. The comparison here is not just about the sonic aspects of it, but really to get the vibe that both were going for. These aren't the perfect final mixes or master files that you're going to end up getting, but I just want to observe some of the production choices that were made in the mixing stage to create an overall different feel and vibe. I should also note that the remaster by Brendan O'Brien is quite a bit louder, so I had to turn that one down so we can get a fair comparison between the two. So I know also that we've listened to these songs a million times, so I'm not going to be playing long clips of the songs. If you want to go listen to them, go to your streaming service. You can do that there. Also copyright. I don't want to get my video taken down. So now I'm going to dive into some of the differences here. Let's start with Alive. Let's start with the intro guitar riff and see if there's any decisions that were made there. So this is the original. Then the remaster. So right off the bat, I can tell that the Brendan O'Brien remixes are drier. There's a lot less reverb on them. If I take you to a more chorusy part, you'll be able to tell that. The Brendan O'Brien ones are very direct. There's barely any verb on Eddie's voice at all. In the original, there is an atmosphere to it. There's a reverb to it, and some may like it, some not. I tend to prefer the original just straight up between these two mixes because I love the ambience of feel of the 91 version. It's very almost vintage, classic sounding, and there's a ton more reverb on Eddie's voice and all the different instruments. You could tell in that intro guitar riff that there's some verb going on in the left channel with the guitar riff, and then on the remaster, I don't really get a feel of that. Let's try and figure out what's going on with the drum sound. Here's the original. So that's the drum sound. Let's check in on it here. So it's a similar feel, more reverb on the 91 version. The snare also has a little more punch and a little more top end to it in the Brendan version. It's a little more direct, in your face, as opposed to this ambient feel. But it feels like the same drum parts were used. There wasn't any sample replacement going on. So it does feel like the natural drums. But overall, the Brendan O'Brien mix, more raw, more in your face. Let's go to like the guitar solo part and see if we can hear anything different there. That's the remaster. Here's the original. Almost seems in the original that the McCready solos pan slightly to the left, which is interesting. And the remaster, I think it's directly center. Let's see if I'm not just crazy. Yeah, in the original, it's like a little bit to the left and louder. Interesting choice from Tim Palmer on the original mix there. Let's go to the outro and see. We might get a good idea of what the drum verb sound is going on. So a ton of ambience, like a plate or a hall sound on those toms and snare. Let's listen to the original, the remaster, I should say. So it's more like a room sound on the Brendan O'Brien mix. He's got like a nice tight room, like it feels like the band playing in a room. The original feels like an 80s album with the drums where it's like this big hall and these gated reverbs. Different approaches, both kind of cool, both have their own vibe to them. Absolutely for sure. Let's go to like the chorus of Alive and see if the different elements like acoustic guitars and even sometimes there's some string sections really kind of poke out in the original version. So I can hear those acoustic guitars wide. I'm getting less of the acoustic guitars at all on the edges here on the remaster. Let's see if we can get to like that clean breakdown part. Clean guitars, acoustics, choruses. Let's see what's on the remaster. There's something wrong, she said. Of course there. Yeah, the extra layers are kind of turned down for sure in the remastered version, leaving the band more upfront and in your face. A cool choice nonetheless. Let's go to the song Black and let's see if there's anything interesting there. Let's start with the clean intro and see if there's any differences. Okay, super filtered and small. What about the remaster? Okay, very similar feel. Doesn't feel like it's been too changed up here. Let's listen to the verse part. What I love on this Pearl Jam album is this fretless bass sound that we have. It's just so cool. It has a vibe, ton of low end, played impeccably, and I love that I can hear it very clearly on the original. I want to make sure that's still intact on the remaster. I'm getting more sub information on the remaster. Cool, a little different version of what we're used to. Spread out before me. That vocal is brighter, more compressed, and in your face on the remaster for sure. The drums have a tighter feel, a little more top end on them overall. Very interesting. Look how short that snare is there. Like barely any sustain on the original. All this reverb and room sound, right? Very interesting there. Let's go to the chorus. And now my bitter hands shake beneath the clouds. Oh, what was everything? All the pictures said. There's strings, pianos, crazy percussion. Let's see about the remaster. And now my bitter hands shake beneath the clouds. Oh, what was everything? There's a clarity to the remaster that I do like. Everything is up front and very clear and has its place. While the original feels a little more ambient, everything's kind of blended into each other. Two different forms, but you do make out some details on the remaster that you weren't really aware of in the original because they might have been turned down or drowned in some reverb or something. So very interesting there. Let's go to this famous outro part where there's a ton of vocal layers, guitars going on. What is the difference? Let's listen to the original. Okay, the remaster. Off the bat, I can hear much more clearly like the left guitar, clean guitar, as well as some of the lead parts are just more up front and in your face. Some vocals should kick in about here. Eddie's groans are much more clear in that remaster. Very haunting. Like on the original, the vocal of the that part is definitely louder. The pianos and the little, string arrangements on top are a little more present. It's a more dynamic arrangement in that sense. But you get the band more on the remaster and more of Eddie on that outro part, which is very cool. Some details that I never noticed before. I mean, how can you not love that? Ooh, that note. Awesome. So, two songs, two different approaches, or I should say, two mixers, two different approaches. Very interesting to go through the differences. On the original, more ambient, more layers. There's more to the productions as a whole, but a little overall less clarity. It's more vibey. On the remaster, drier, in your face, feels like a live band playing in the room, just smacking you in the face with a raw drum sound, the vocals. And that's really the difference between this original by Tim Palmer and Brendan O'Brien. Let me know in a comment down below, which version do you prefer? Have you been listening to both for a while and you made your determination about which is better? I'd like to hear your thoughts in a comment. Also, what was interesting about the two different versions? What really stuck out to you? I'd really like to hear your thoughts as well down in the comments below. If there's two album versions that you want me to compare and do a back-to-back of the original and remaster, I've got some down the pipeline, but I'd like to hear your suggestions. Then I will do them on the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time.